Welcome back for another video. Who are the best players to buy for Gameweek 30? We're into the 30s now. We've got 9 game weeks to go this season. The business end of the season really in these coming weeks. We've got blank Gameweek 31, double Gameweek 33, blank Gameweek 34. The FA Cup weekend has started to give us a better idea of who's going to have a double and a blank as well in the next few weeks. Whatever strategy you're on, we're going to cover it all in this one. So yeah, basically whether you're wildcard in the Gameweek 32 or wildcard in now, maybe you've used it already. So let's talk about the goalkeepers first. And the best fixtures defensively this week is Arsenal home to Everton. Brentford have got Wolves home. Obviously that one's up for debate given the Wolves form lately, isn't it? Liverpool have got Spurs home and Bournemouth have got Burnley away. Though again with Bournemouth, 31.9 expected goals conceded in away games is actually worse than the league by Bournemouth there. You certainly have to give a start to the likes of Senesi, Hill and Petrovic though if you've got them. So Raya's top for Gameweek 30, he's on 4.3 projected points, and then it's Kelleher, then it's Alisson, they're both on 3.9, then it's Verbruggen 3.7 and Lahrmann's 3.6. The FA Cup quarter-finals draw is going to be on Monday night, and that's going to give us a really good idea of exactly who's going to blank and who's going to double in a few weeks. And that's going to be a core part of strategy for the run-in. It's easier for those planning to wildcard just before the double, but if you're in a situation where you've used your wildcard, then it's basically all about working towards the double and blanks with free transfers. If you've got a free hit, then that will help a lot. Arsenal, Palace, Newcastle, Man City are likeliest to double in Gameweek 33, which is great as there's plenty of good assets there. We're likeliest to have 8 teams doubling, but it could be 6. On Wednesday's team selection video, we'll actually have the double and blank Gameweek odds following the draw, so make sure you subscribe so you catch that. The last thing I wanted to point out with goalkeepers is that if you've got Raya and Dubravka, it's not worth spending a transfer on a keeper, because Raya in Gameweek 30 and Dubravka in Gameweek 31 it gives you 7.2 projected points. For comparison, Kelleher's next 2 games gives you 7.3, Leno gives you 7.2. Obviously you could make a case for making a goalkeeper transfer with 31 if you've got a load of transfers and you've got that luxury, but you'd need Dubravka to score badly and not make many saves, and obviously whoever you bring in needs to keep a clean sheet like Leno. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with just playing Dubravka and just take whatever he gets in 31 as opposed to spending a valuable transfer on a keeper. I've got a question for you. Have you ever gone to search for a show on something like Netflix and you've seen nothing? It turns out Netflix probably has the show you want, it's just geo-restricted. Depending on where you live, Netflix and all the other streaming services offer different content libraries. This means you're paying for a full subscription, but you're technically only getting access to a fraction of their total movies and shows. With ExpressVPN, I can change my location to anywhere in the world, literally just like this, one click, and you instantly unlock thousands of new titles. For example, let's say Shawshank Redemption isn't on Netflix. Well, boom, I click this and now I'm in France and now I'm watching it. Or if you want to watch Match of the Day and you don't live in the UK, just one tap and now you've got the best football coverage. I first started using ExpressVPN in 2023 as an app for mobile and PC and also a browser add-on. I use the browser add-on the most personally. You might not be as interested in unlocking content from other countries. Another benefit is you can access discounts that other countries have got that you don't for the same service. VPNs are also essential for privacy. For example, US internet providers can legally sell your browsing history, or in the UK and other countries, they're required to keep logs of every page you've ever visited for 1 to 2 years. Like, it's crazy that someone somewhere can profit off you browsing the internet. This keeps you anonymized and safe. It's the world's best VPN. Go to expressvpn.com/FPL Focal, that link's in the description, or just scan the QR code on screen and check out how to get up to 4 months when subscribing. It's only £2.49 a month, which is literally 8p a day. Let's move on to defenders. So Gabriel and Timber, the top 2 this week for Everton home. So Saliba's been missing from Arsenal's squad the last 2 games, including the FA Cup. Arteta said he was a massive doubt to make that game against Mansfield and says his injury is to his other ankle as opposed to the one that he injured last time. He said no, it's the other one. So yeah, we saw the same after the game. He wasn't comfortable to finish the game, and after that straight away he didn't have a good feeling, so let's see if he recovers quickly. There is quite a nice gap to Gameweek 30 still, so it's just one to monitor if you've got him. Certainly not a buy anyway. Van Dijk is the one to buy if you can afford him. He's top of all defenders for projected points in these next 2 games. If you're on a wildcard 32 strategy, but even if you're not, to be honest with you, like the fixture run for Liverpool is really good over the next 5. They've got Spurs, Brighton, Fulham, Everton and Palace. Van den Berg makes the table this week. He started 6 in a row now, and last game Ayew was the one that dropped to the bench in favour of Collins, who came in. They did keep a clean sheet. 7.7 projected points for him over the next 2 game weeks, and that ranks 5th after Van Dijk, Anderson, Tete and Senesi. Lacroix is on the table as well, and it's a big shame that Munoz was forced off injured last match, because he would have been great to play this one. Glasner said the following: "It is a shoulder injury, and right now his arm is in a brace. Let's hope it's not too bad." If you got him, then hopefully he's back for the Leeds home game next match. Otherwise, yeah, look to sell him, given the blank of 31. If that makes sense in your team anyway, and you can improve your starting defence there. It's a slightly strange period of the season where it just doesn't make sense to buy defenders from Arsenal or Man City, and in most cases, likewise the attackers. But the second the Game Week 31 deadline passes, that's where we're going to be looking at all the assets again. The season basically kind of enters a new chapter after that point, and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. It's all about Game Week 31 optimisation, and then it's the business end of the season with the doubles and blanks and the run-in. So yeah, it's kind of a limited pool of players to pick from right now. There are still lots of great assets, but I guess the underlying message is then in the few game weeks time we'll have more freedom of who to buy. So let's move on to midfielders. And a lot of you quite rightly questioned the Haaland to Salah switch that was discussed a lot last game week, as a short-term play of course before the blank, and it went great if you were brave enough to make that swap. I wish I was, despite Liverpool losing as well. 18 points from Salah captain, 4 from Haaland captain. This week Salah is top of the table on 6.9 points, followed by Bruno, Palmer, Sharda, Tavernier, Saka, Szoboszlai and Dango. Don't get me wrong, it's been a horrendous season for Salah and his underlying data has been poor, but it's still an option as a short-term play. It's a little bit trickier this week because Haaland's record against West Ham is actually unbelievable. He's played them 7 times and he's blanked once ever. 11 goals, 2 assists in 7 games. There are obviously several different managers and systems in there for West Ham over that run, but yeah, regardless, he's always done great against them. Across all positions, the top 3 players for the next 2 game weeks projected points are Bruno number 1, 12.7, and then Salah 12.0, and then Palmer 10.7. That's 21 goal involvements for Bruno this season and 26 starts, 7 goals, 14 assists. Actually incredible numbers. I wonder how close he gets to the all-time assist record, which was 20 from Henry in 2002-03. De Bruyne also matched it with 20 in 2019-20. Bruno would need 7 assists in the last 9 games to break it, which won't be easy. Anyway, Bruno's registered 9 double-digit returns this season, which is actually joint most of Haaland's 9, and he's certainly captaincy material this week, playing Villa home. Villa shipped 4 goals to Chelsea last game, and they were playing home. They've been really unfortunate to lose Tielemans, McGinn and Camara all at the same time. Plus Cash went off injured last game as well, so he could be a Dow. Tavernier owners were incredibly unlucky for him to blank last game week. No one took more than his 5 shots. 1.47 expected goal involvement. Only João Pedro registered a higher XGI. He came away with a ridiculous 2.6 XGI. Tavernier hit the post twice as well, and he does have Burnley next, and he's got Man United home in Game Week 31. So he's a fantastic enabler to consider if you're tight for money especially. Even if you're not, to be honest. At 5.3 mil though, he's easily the best value player in the game right now for the next 2 game weeks in isolation, given that he's also got the set pieces, penalties, corners. If we look at the next 2 game weeks projected points, he's 5th in the league after Bruno, Salah, Palmer and Thiago. That is some company to be in, especially at 5.3 mil. Brentford face Wolves home. Now, if this was like a couple of months ago, we'd be talking about what a ridiculously strong fixture this is, but Wolves have been fantastic lately, haven't they? Like, to take 7 points from Liverpool, Aston Villa and Arsenal in their last 4 games is some going. Huge credit to them, though I have to point out for devil's advocate that some of those results have been somewhat of a smash and grab. 25 big chances conceded over the last 6 game weeks is rock bottom, worst in the league. 117 shots conceded is worse than anyone. 14.5 XGC is also worse. So basically, don't let that put you off buying Sharda or Dango necessarily. Some other honourable mentions for the Game Week 32 wildcarders. Mbumo's on 9.6 points for the next 2, just behind Tavernier. Wilson's on 9.5, assuming that his flag clears. Though I think it makes more sense to buy 31 directly before Burnley home, rather than buying before Forest away. Rogers and Anderson both on 8.5 points. Vert's return from injury in the FA Cup came off the bench and they managed to knock Wolves out, 3-1 win. He's a hold if you've still got him at this point really, but I wouldn't buy just in case his minutes aren't great. Onto the forwards then. So, top this week is Haaland. He wasn't in the squad against Newcastle in the FA Cup, but Pep said, I didn't think to let him play. I prefer him training to get into rhythm. After being injured, when he drops deep, he struggles to have the real pace to get forward. So, he's very likely to play against West Ham after a rest, but again, a rest or a benching isn't out of the question. And this is the tricky thing this week. There are European games on. Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa, Forest and Palace all play midweek before Game Week 30, and they play next week midweek as well. And there are some incredibly tough games in there that they're going to have to go full strength for. You know, Newcastle have got Barcelona, Chelsea have got PSG, Man City have got Real Madrid. It was a poor match for Thiago last match. He actually didn't register a shot on goal against Bournemouth, 0.0 XG and only 0.04 expected assists. He does still place second on our table for this week though, and he is the top forward for projected points for the next 2 game weeks, Wolves home, Leeds away. Ekitike and João Pedro are very good options as well, however. A 19 pointer for João Pedro, his biggest score ever, and what an incredible run he's been on. Since Game Week 22, he's blanked once in his last 8 games, and that was Arsenal away. 8 goals, 6 assists in 8 games, 14 goal involvements in 8. He's amassed 76 points over that run. That's just 20 fewer than Salah for the entire season, and that is 16 more points than any player of the last 8. Bruno's second, he's got 60 points over the last 8. Newcastle home and then Everton away for Chelsea. He's becoming almost impossible to ignore, and the ownership just goes up and up, though they do of course have PSG in the Champions League, as I say, where he would be predicted to start in both legs. Ekitike's minutes could suffer a little bit as a consequence as well. But going back to the point with Salah, which does include Ekitike, they're home to Spurs, who are in such a dreadful patch of form, follow another defeat last game against Palace. And Spurs, of course, play in Europe as well, other side of that away game versus Liverpool. It's just awful timing. They've got Atletico Madrid. What are your transfer plans and your current thinking ahead of Game Week 30? Leave a comment below. See you soon for the next one.